Hey everyone, I'm Mariana and I am back with another movie review. I asked you guys on Instagram and also here on YouTube if you still wanted to see a review for Underwater, even though it came out a couple of weeks ago, but I just saw it yesterday and actually most of you said yes. Almost all of you said yes, so here we are. I don't usually go see January movies in theater because they tend to be awful. I will catch up on those end of the year December releases that go wide in January. I will watch stuff at home, but actual January movies in the US, they're pretty rough. I still wanted to see Underwater though, because when I saw the trailer months ago, I thought it looked like it could be fun, but then of course I saw it was a January release and I thought, oh, never mind. But I decided to take a chance on this one because I love sci-fi horror, and underwater sci-fi horror is just about as stressful as space sci-fi horror, since you can't just escape your issues somewhere outside. And as I mentioned, I did think the trailer looked pretty good. And guess what? I am really glad that I went to see it because honestly, I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. I don't know what this movie is doing in January because it could have been a fine summer creature feature if they marketed it properly. So let me tell you about Underwater. 7 miles below the surface of the ocean, an earthquake destroys an underwater station, and a small group of remaining survivors, including a mechanical engineer, Nora, and the captain, Lucien, now have to find their way out of this situation. They have no way to communicate with anyone on the surface, their escape submarine is destroyed, and what remains of the station is not going to last much longer. However, they soon realize they might have even bigger problems. Is it an earthquake that destroyed their station, or did their drilling awaken something else? This is a very dramatic synopsis. Let me clarify this right away. Yes, a lot of this film is heavily inspired by other sci-fi thrillers, and they are not trying to hide it. The main influences here, of course, are Alien and The Abyss. The Abyss, that's another movie I watched countless times growing up. But I think that kind of works in this film's favor. They knew exactly what they were making. They don't pretend like this is some new mind-blowing concept. It's a fast-paced thriller that is right around an hour and a half, and it works. I was thoroughly entertained by Underwater. It had some great claustrophobic sequences. They maintained the tension really well. I was never bored or uninterested in what was going on. It is generally a well-made sci-fi thriller. It does have a few jump scares, which we all know I absolutely hate. However, I will say none of them are false scares, and also they don't go nuts with them. There are only about 3 or 4 that really stood out to me, and I am just ashamed to admit that one of them actually got me. By far, the biggest thing that holds this movie back, in my opinion, are the characters. They are your very basic character types, and there is very little done with them. If Underwater actually had interesting characters that you could really get invested in, a lot of the faults this movie has would have faded into the background. I am not saying this needed to be a character piece, but having a story that is a little bit more personal would have helped to differentiate this film from its influences a little bit more. What's funny is it had some bits of dialogue that suggested some backstory for the characters, so all they needed to do is work a little bit more with that. There isn't that much that needed to be done, but a little bit more development. And I don't know, maybe they did have some of that and they ended up cutting it because it was messing with the overall flow and pacing. But as is, I definitely wanted more from these characters, especially since this cast is actually really solid. Kristen Stewart is an excellent lead here. Her presence fits the character and the setting really well, and she definitely puts her own spin on that Ellen Ripley character type, even though she doesn't get a ton to work with. Also, Vincent Cassel makes a lot of sense as the captain here, though once again, I wish we knew more about about his character. Jessica Henwick and John Gallagher Jr. are good as well. TJ Miller's character was definitely my least favorite. He is the comic relief character here, as you would expect, and his humor just did not always land for me. It was just a bit much. But overall, as I said, I had a lot of fun with this film, and I am glad that I saw it in theater because these visuals are definitely meant for the big screen. Yes, it is derivative, but if you are a fan of the sci-fi thriller genre, Underwater is a good time. It is very competently entertaining and it knows exactly what it is. I think this is a film that's going to find its audience once it hits the streaming platforms. It did not do great at the box office, not a ton of people went to see it. I think it would have done a lot better later in the year, but once it's available to stream, it is going to get more attention and it is going to surprise some people. So for me, Underwater did its job. It is not a masterpiece by any means. I don't think anyone expected it to be, but it does work really well as a sci-fi thriller, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's probably not going to blow your mind when you see it, but if you are a fan of the genre, I really do think you should give this a try. Alright guys, that is it for my review of Underwater, and of course I would love to know what you thought of this film if you've seen it already. Did you see it in theaters? Are you planning to catch it before it leaves theaters, or are you just going to wait until it's streaming, or are you just completely uninterested? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I really want to thank all of you for watching this video, and a special thank you to all of my patrons, an extra special thank you to the patrons whose names are on the screen right now. Basically, just want to thank everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye!